So here we are at Silverstone, precisely sitting in the BRDC clubhouse between Luffield Corner and Brooklands Corner. Why are we here? We're here at Silverstone, the home of British motorsport, and also the heart of Motorsport Valley. And with me is Chris Aylett, who is the Chief Executive Officer of the MIA, which is the Motorsport Industry Association. It's really nice to see you.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
Perfect. So I want to ask you, first of all, before I start talking about the MIA, the Motorsport Industry Association, I want to ask you about how and where and why your interest in motorsport developed. And I know both of us have been around for quite a while, but go back and give us a little bit of a flavour of how it all began for you.
Well, I hung over the gate fence of a gentleman that raced a DB4 GT Aston Martin and a vintage Aston Martin, and I asked if I could wash the wheels for them. Eventually, I had specialised in that for a year. He said, if you get a driving licence, you can drive them both to race meetings.
That was quite a promotion.
Yeah. Well, as long as I didn't hit anything. And that got me involved in motor racing, believe it or not, because he insisted on me acting as a marshal one weekend, and then I could drive the car another weekend. So it was a great introduction. It started from hanging over the gate post waiting for the bus.
So you're very good at cleaning wheels as well as any other skills.
And expertise.
But then you're slightly doing yourself down because you didn't just drive the cars to the racetracks, you raced them. You raced Aston Martins, you raced McLarens, you raced MG Midgets and TVRs, you raced a lot. Tell us a little bit about your racing yourself.
It's nothing to write home about. It's like many other people enjoy racing, trying to overtake somebody, failing mostly. And I went to Jim Russell Racing School with John Kirkpatrick to learn how you do it professionally, and found that I lacked the skill to be a professional race driver pretty quickly. But I just love the thrill of racing, and some of these cars that I was fortunate enough to buy and find sponsors for. Let me make this so I was not a rich kid. I enjoyed, and probably the most memorable was the McLaren M8. At one time, I owned two of them.
Can-Am cars?
Can-Am cars with the lovely V8 engines that made the ground shake.
That were raced by Bruce McLaren himself, Denny Hulme, the Bruce, Denny and Chris Aylett show.
No. But I would say that it probably introduced me to the financial world of motorsport, which had never occurred to me. I was studying to be an insurance person, a really boring future. And
nothing against insurance, of
nothing
course.
at all. But I fortunately won a scholarship to go to America, and whilst I was over there, I changed careers and got in the sports business. But it was quite interesting as far as motorsport. I created a race series that went around Europe, the Steigenberger Super Sports Cup. And so we took these beautiful cars to famous race tracks all around the UK. And we ended up with grids of 35 to 40 cars.
These were sports cars?
It's all sports cars.
In the late 80s and early 90s.
Yeah.
And I think it went to Spa, Nürburgring, etc.
Yeah. But no, we had wonderful stories. And it introduced to me the way that you can earn a living out of motorsport if you learn about it. And so I think that sowed in my mind the thought of this would be a really good industry to join after I left the sports industry.
Well, that segues and leads us very naturally up to 1994, which is when the MIA was founded.
The truth was, it was founded in 1994 by a group of six guys who wanted to begin a trade body. And after a couple of years, they'd heard that I was chairman of this Sports Industry Association and said, could you do, it was Ralph Furman came over to me and a long interview just said, could you do that thing that you do for sport, for motorsport? So that was my interview.
Ralph Furman, famous Van Diemen, all of that.
So he just suggested, could I do what I'm doing for the sports industry, for motorsport? And that was the length of the interview. And it was pretty quickly agreed they had no money to pay me. So that was the starting point. If you could make the money work and you attract some members, then we got ourselves an MIA.
We have now got ourselves an MIA more than 30 years later. We're going to talk a bit about money during the course of the rest of this interview because, of course, money is a key issue. both raising it to go racing, but also making it out of racing, because both things are objectives for people engaged in motor racing. So, what does the MIA do?
Well, it's strangely enough, it's a strange sport in that most of the time it is moving between an event that could be just 2 weeks away in a different country or a different part of the land, and it's very hard for the community to breathe and have time to meet one another and build an enterprise, build a business, and build a community. So they really value that time, and it works in the other sports industries too. When you come together, you innovate together, you invest in one another, you share ideas. And motorsport is in abundance. We have those. What we don't have enough of is time, because there's always another race meeting in another country or another place. So the pressure on the people to build their companies is really extreme and difficult in motorsport. So the idea was, this is simply a community that will come together, and you'll have face-to-face time, and you can very rapidly meet the person you want to ask and ask the questions and get the answer and go back and apply it. So there was no question that these guys who put it together to start with, there was a demand and a need for it. All it needed was some organisation and a bit of leadership. But good people came together pretty quickly. We found ourselves a good sponsor, a good Anderson Consulting were one of our early friends. Amazingly, we had the pleasure of appointing Lord Astor of Hever as our president, and Rob Baldock was with Anderson Consulting. He was the chairman. They put it together. What they did, fortunately, I was able to bring in my experience of running a trade body, and as soon as we came together, it began to take shape, and it has grown ever since.
Give me some concrete examples, and let me ask the question this way. Let's imagine, I don't by the way, but imagine that I owned a company that made gearboxes. Why would it be important for me, as the owner of a company that makes gearboxes that goes racing, to join and be active within the MIA?
Well, you'd meet other gearbox makers, so you'd know what your competition was. You'd probably find with some surprise that there are areas of common interest, and you'll find out who the supply chain is to their gearboxes, because you need in turn a supply chain supplying that equipment. And so very efficiently, very effectively, at very low cost, you'll, if you like, gathered market intelligence that then allows your company to grow more successfully, to meet customers, to know where the opportunities are, which series are open to my particular gearbox, which ones are closed, where the opportunities are for gearboxes, as opposed to being lost out in the world of gearboxes, saying, how do I get into motorsport? Well, you go to one of our meetings. They're very casual and informal, and it always makes me smile in the last few years. We call a coffee morning in our offices. We get 60 or 70 companies coming. Free, the coffee's free. But they drive from Preston, from Cornwall, to come together. There was no fixed agenda, and they have 2 or 3 hours together, and the noise and the conversations are instant, because the thing that pulls you together is this love affair you have with the business you're in, which is motorsport.
And they wouldn't come from Preston or Cornwall to your offices, which are in the Midlands, in Warwickshire, unless there was a compelling business objective and reward. It's about networking, it's about learning off each other, one another, but it's also about finding suppliers and finding customers.
I was fortunate enough to know about building, if you like, business clusters was something that I was very interested in, because the companies that I used to work for, we would always join the cluster. Whichever company we bought, we would join the cluster, because that cluster, I remember the French tent manufacturer we bought, I joined the French Tent Manufacturers Association because the exit for my investment will be at the room. You suddenly realise that's who I want to speak to. I want to speak to other people in my industry. I'll either buy from them or sell to them. So that's the value, a very simplistic form of the value of a good trade association.
So let's talk about the 2024 review of the UK Motorsport Valley, which is where we're sitting. And that is, it's online, but it's also this handsome brochure. And it's made by Grant Thornton, run by Grant Thornton, but in association with the MIA. And I'll put it down now and continue to ask you about it. So What were the key findings?
First of all, I should just say that once every decade we do this review, so we know how it's moving forward. The key numbers I would say is, let's just capture the big number, is £16 billion turnover.
Of the motorsport industry
in the UK compared to 9 billion 10 years ago. So significant growth.
Massive growth.
Yeah. And 50,000 employees now. It was 30,000. So in actual fact, we're more efficient if you just play with those big numbers. The other key findings is 90% of the companies invest in research and development. And the backbone of the British motorsport industry is this incredible commitment they have to research and development. But as we all of us know in motorsport, every week is another week that you're looking for a new solution. So your R&D never ends. It doesn't kind of build a product, then you sit still for the next couple of years and do another one. Every week, every month, you've got to keep spending on research and development to stay ahead of the competition. I would say also the international marketplace for us, it's 94% of our companies have international trade, and that's truly international. There is a sentence which I've never been able to check. There is nobody running a race meeting anywhere in the world that doesn't have something from the UK's Motorsport Valley.
So if I go to watch a race in Australia or Asia or Africa, every one of those cars will have something on it that was made here in the UK.
It's been going on, this industry of ours has been going on for 100 years, so we should be good at it by now.
And many of those manufacturers that are making those bits of those cars that I've been looking at and watching and enjoying in Australia and Asia and Africa would be actually MIA members. Not necessarily all, but many.
Yeah. That's exactly our, if you like, community. But we don't put people under pressure. If they like the idea of face-to-face meetings with colleagues, once they join, they mostly stay. Yeah. So they come along and find the value in it, which is the way we've grown.
The membership does consist of, SMEs and big multinational corporations.
Yes, it does. It's the whole supply chain, if you like, following behind the glamour of seeing a Formula One car on a racetrack like this. But if you look at the supply chain, it's a very complex supply chain, and even the services, if you think about moving that in Formula One, moving that around the world, shipping it, getting it into the right place, even the logistics are a wonder on their own.
And most of it, not absolutely all of it, but most of it is centred here in Motorsport Valley. A lot of it in the UK, but the majority of that within this sector of the Midlands.
Yes.
I mean, for example, we all know that Cadillac is going to enter Formula One next year for the first time, owned by General Motors, a huge American company, one of the largest companies in America and actually one of the largest companies in the world. Where did they choose to centre their Formula One operation? They could have put it anywhere in the whole world. It's a stone's throw just across there. It's just across there. Why did they choose this place to put their American company that's going to go Formula One racing?
The easy way for me to answer it is to take you to other business clusters. So if you want to go in the film business, you'd be wise to go to Hollywood. And if you want to go into the advanced innovative industries, you'll go to Silicon Valley. And is there exactly a place called Silicon Valley? No. Is there exactly a place called Hollywood? But in that area, the community is more advanced and more knowledgeable than anywhere else. So it's the same in Motorsport Valley. Most engineering is iterative, cautious, safe, all this kind of thing. We're in the competitive engineering business, which demands speedy replies, speedy action. So actually locating close to one of your suppliers makes you more efficient. So it is, without question, the world centre in terms of a community focused on motorsport. There isn't a major race series anywhere in the world that doesn't have some connections to Motorsport Valley, which is a trademark of the MIA that we created to make sure it's protected for generations ahead. I should say the MIA is owned by the members. It's not an individual. So everybody, the industry itself, owns its own industry association.
Let's talk a little bit about this report. So we're talking about the Grant Thornton MIA review of the UK Motorsport Valley. What findings has it unearthed that government, other bodies need to respond to or ought to respond to, do you think?
From that, you can spot opportunities to invest. You'll see, you'll spot opportunities to purchase. That there's a weakness in the marketplace, and you can see the statistics. And from those statistics, it will direct you. If you're thinking of investing in or expanding your motorsport activity, it gives you some guidance. It's not sacrosanct. It's simply some guidance as to trends over the last 10 years. And it was over 20 years ago when we put on the world's first energy efficient motorsport conference. And that's the kind of thing that indicates a leadership position that we've made, where motorsport, right from the very first race, has used its energy efficiently. It can't win a race if it isn't using energy efficiently. That comes through in the review of how important the future, if you like, the net zero future, plays perfectly into the skills that are in Motorsport Valley, because we are naturally interested in the efficient use of whatever the source of energy is, whether it's hydrogen or new fuels or old fuels, it doesn't matter. We're the experts in that. And you'll read this brochure and you'll find, I never realized that motorsport would perceive itself as being energy efficient, and yet it's a central part of its development. And I'd say over the next 10 years, it'll become even more so.
I think that's fascinating. I mean, in a sense, it's an area where motorsport, I think, could improve in terms of storytelling. Because what you're saying is that to win a motor race, and it's always been the case, it was the case, you know, for Stirling Moss 70 years ago, what he was actually doing, yes, he was driving fast, yes, he was braking and turning in and accelerating and all those things, but actually the car that he was propelling so skillfully was using energy efficiently for its time. And that's always been the case, and it's still the case. So what we've got here with motorsport, and it's unique because it's this exciting sport that we love to watch, so it's entertainment, but it's also marrying entertainment and engineering in perhaps a unique way, is it not?
Yes, there's no question this is the beginning of a third chapter, if you like, of Motorsport Valley, in my opinion, because we are, and we already have now, through the good auspices of the Formula One group, we now have an audience, a young audience, that is finding engineering challenge, competitions in engineering, truly exciting. The entertainment is undoubtedly now, engineering itself is entertaining a new young audience, boys and girls, men and women. So we have a completely new audience that have been captured, if you like, for motorsport. And that, for the UK and for Motorsport Valley, that is a real essential for the future. And it's all based on this being an energy efficient future. And the epitome of energy efficiency is to win Le Mans, 2,500 miles or something the weekend, and do it on less, on less fuel.
I go back to my point that, winning motor races is the headline, but the underlying story is energy efficiency, and always has been.
Strange enough, right from the outset, when they had steam cars, if you could carry less logs to throw on the fire to create the steam, you'll win the race.
Not only does the motorsport industry of the United Kingdom earn export dollars for UK PLC and provide employment, 50,000 people, but also there's great STEM opportunities, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, for people who perhaps are young people who are drawn by the entertainment value of the sport and realize that if they want to get involved, they have to do the STEM studies.
I would think that the educators involved in previous motorsport are going to have to review this change, because these people are coming in, and if I may say, particularly the females that are coming in, we're already seeing percentages growing really fast. So we're opening, the entertainment opens up a new opportunity with young people coming into our sport, and it's somehow or another, I'm hoping, that the older generation in the sport spots this and encourages it, because it'll only make Motorsport Valley even stronger. Every week I'm dealing with international people, young people, writing to the MIA saying, could you tip me off how I get into motorsport? And the essential part is just come to the UK and study it in one of the universities that specialise in it.
And increasingly there are university courses in the UK that are world leaders in that exact area.
And they will have to modify their courses to cope with the new entertainment of engineering, which is an interesting challenge, but it'll attract and retain those young people.
Now, I wanted to ask you about another element, it's related, which is early this year, the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, invited a group of motorsport people to celebrate the 75th anniversary of the inauguration of Formula One. Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One itself, went there and made a speech. The team principals of all the Formula One teams did, and various other members of the great and the good, including your good self. I believe you were there.
Yeah.
So, and afterwards, I gather from my friends in government that Sir Keir Starmer was very positive about the day, and I believe he made a nice speech. But tell us a little bit about the day, and perhaps if you wouldn't mind being so bold. I know that there's a lot of other challenges in the United Kingdom at the moment that are occupying Sir Keir Starmer's attention. But tell us a little bit about the day and also suggest some things that you'd like to see government doing perhaps more of.
Well, it was good to see all those people coming together at 10 Downing Street. It was good to have the Prime Minister's commitment to time. I thought that Stefano Domenicali made a really good speech, made it very, very clear and very pointed that Formula One was happy to be located here in the UK, in Motorsport Valley, and that they hope that that would continue. I think hidden behind that, it's also reminding us all that it can move. The headquarters could move. They've chosen London to be their headquarters for Formula One, so it's not just about the Formula One teams, but it is mobile. As you know, every weekend they head off and run a race somewhere else in the world. So there was a very gentle hint that please work hard with us because we've got a very exciting future. And you've just heard something about the engineering entertainment of the future, which they've created. So that was very interesting to hear that. It was good of the Prime Minister to make it clear how much he valued the UK motorsport industry and the years of Formula One. What I do admit and feel right now, they have a prime interest in the automotive industry in the UK, and obviously the relatively recent link between the automotive industry and motorsport was an essential one. It's changed pretty dramatically in the last decade in that the testing that was needed, the driver in a car testing on tracks, is now a great deal done on computers.
You mean for road cars?
For road cars,
Yeah.
But they used to use it, they obviously used the same facilities, the tracks and so on, in the development of the cars, but the development of the cars is now moving on into another sphere, and in fact, as you know, will probably be primarily electric in the next 10 years. So that's changed. So motorsport no longer has to be seen as a testing arm of the high street cars. We're free to be innovative, and we have created this entertaining sport. So there's a really bright new future for motorsport because of that change. And I feel that the government has to focus on the automotive industry because of the number of employees and investment in it. And they are now considering, how do you maintain the success, the inward investment success, the jobs, the motivation for young people with its new sector? And the MIA is working well with various government departments to try and find the right position for government. It's not just a question of getting money from government, it's helping a sector like motorsport and Motorsport Valley cluster head off in the right direction and continue to be a leader in the world.
I think that's very interesting because, you know, in many ways, Formula One, of course, is the pinnacle, the crown jewels, the jewel in the crown, I should say, understandably so. But of course, it's not the sum total of the motorsport industry of the world, and certainly not the motorsport industry of the UK. There are 10, now soon to be 11 Formula One teams, most of them based here in the UK. But nonetheless, there are 50,000 people working in the motorsport industry of the UK. So do you think that message is understood fully enough by leaders, decision makers, government figures? Or could we do more as a body of people in motorsport to make sure that they all understand that it's earning money for UK PLC?
This is a very difficult year for industry in general. You'd be blind if you didn't recognise that, with challenges coming left and right and centre. So here we have this industry of ours that just seems to be riding the waves, very successful and growing and attracting investors of the size of General Motors and others. There are plenty of others that we could do. So it's bucking the trend, and that's not always a good place to be, particularly if you're trying to run a country which has got lots of those difficulties. But I have a feeling that I would feel very positively, the government is well aware of the value of motorsport. This report helps them do so. I think their difficulty is how do we apply the government support that they could have available to make sure that it is directed in the right place. And that'll probably be helping us with international trade, because the backbone of what we do is the international reach that we've got. And that's expensive for companies to go. The eagerness of the American suppliers and companies to meet with us, to know the latest innovation, is palpable. It's really exciting to see. So would government be able to help us with that international trade? No doubt about it. And they can carry on with R&D tax credits. They may be reviewing them. I hope they don't review them downwards. Their R&D tax credits in the UK are regularly stated as a substantial reason that all these companies are based here.
And of course the MIA does have offices in the United States, doesn't it?
Yes, very early on I invited two folk. One was actually Vice Consul of Automotive in America at that time. Would you like to help the MIA? I'm setting up a thing called the MIA as best I can, and I know you're in America, and I've been working in America for quite some time, and the same in the southern states. So we have a director in each, one down in Charlotte and one up at Indy, and that, in a way, in America, that's the biggest international marketplace. When we delve into local marketplace in America, it's completely different, and you have to be manufacturing hot rods to get to a great deal of those. And they're fantastic. And believe it or not, yes, we do have suppliers that do supply American hot rod racing.
So in terms of the environmental challenge that we all face, the planet faces, what do you say when people do say, because they do say it, that here you are, driving round and round in circles, using fuel to do so, to have fun? How does that square with the challenges that the planet faces?
Well, strangely enough, the answer is it actually directly addresses the challenges, but it's very hard visually to explain, because it does seem exactly as you've just explained. Over 20 years ago, I put together a conference called Energy Efficient Motorsport. And I have to say, quite a few people thought it was nonsense, that I'd misunderstood, that can't be right. But very quickly, people came and said, well, another pint of gasoline, if you can do without that, then obviously we win races by that weight. So we naturally are efficient users of the source of energy, which surprised me how blatantly obvious it was, that the cars are lighter, so they're going to use their energy better. They're more aerodynamic, so they're going to be better users of the energy. And so that conference is run every year in March by the MIA.
And it continues.
And it continues, and it's all of its own. There's no other such conference. And we get the speakers from motorsport to explain the latest developments. So I'm proud to say the MIA and the industry in the UK addressed energy efficiency, or what we now prefer to call net zero challenges. We addressed those 20 years ago. So the motorsport industry in the UK has had 20 years of development, partly serving themselves because the cars go quicker and carry less fuel. But there are a multiplicity of solutions that we've found on the way. We're now racing hydrogen cars. We now race electric cars. That was formerly they were launched at an MI event. They were launched at this very event. So we're using all these multiplicity of ideas, and from that, the automotive industry can say, that's a good idea, that's not such a good idea, and they can see how hydrogen power can power race cars, and we'll be seeing them next year, for example.
So in some ways, you could actually say that which some people criticize motorsport with is actually its unique strength. I mean, put it this way, you will not help the journey towards net zero by kicking a football or hitting a tennis ball, but you might do by racing a car.
Yeah, it takes a moment for someone to just reflect on it and realize they're just working with people who are demonstrating their understanding, a real understanding of what net zero and energy efficiency is, and putting it into practice. The bright ones then steal those ideas, which is what's going on all the time, which is great, and move it to wherever it's appropriate. So I could give you many, many of those experiences that motorsport is definitely the centre of energy efficient solutions.
Next thing I want to ask you about is CTS, which is the flagship show of the MIA, which is here at Silverstone, actually at the Wing, so just round the corner from here, but at Silverstone, on the 15th and 16th of October, so coming up soon. Tell us all about it.
Well, this is a trade show. Let's make it clear. This is for the industry to meet the industry of motorsport. I wish we could entertain all the fans that would want to come in, but we're there to do business. And it's only a 2-day show, and it's free of charge, and car parking is free to anybody from the trade, from the business side of motorsport, and who don't get together very regularly through a season because, as you know, the seasons are so busy. So once a year, that we run this show, and we run it early enough in October so that any business deals or new products that they get to read, they can actually produce and deliver ready for the season. So the timing and the expense, which is zero, other than to the exhibitors, and the location is outstanding. 500,000 people were here a few weeks ago, so it's the centre of motorsport.
You mean for the British Grand Prix?
For the British Grand Prix.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've focused on, to bring together the industry and also attract, and we invite and work hard on attracting other visitors from other innovative industries. So one of the main areas of work that we do is make sure that motorsport solutions reach the defence industry, reach the marine industry, and reach the aerospace industry. So we attract those people from those sectors to come and have a look at the innovations in motorsport, and then go away and maybe place orders or consider ways they can work with motorsport. So it's a really useful 2 days of work. I could make it much longer, but there's no need. You can get through lots of this conversation. There are 100 or more exhibitors this year, and lots of speeches being made. Sure, again, a unique thing. We allow people to speak for just 15 minutes. So we call it speakers' corners. They come on, say what you want to do, and then get off and meet people face to face. Don't sit in the audience and just wait for the hour to pass. We're more dynamic than that. So it is all about bringing people together who are interested in the technology and innovation going on in motorsport, in any sphere of motorsport, not just Formula One, but off-road. Funny enough, IndyCar are coming over. So we have the FIA coming here with their safety committee. So many people come together, and that safety committee that they're running, well, they want to meet people who produce safety products, and they want to do business with them. Ever since I started this, are you trying to make money out of motorsport? Well, get involved with this. You don't always succeed. That's the one thing we'd say. But come along if that's your ambition, and learn from people who are doing so.
So to go back to my imaginary example, which is, please imagine that I own this company that makes gearboxes, that goes racing.
You still own the gearbox company.
I still own the gearbox company. I don't actually, but let's imagine I do. If I'm in two minds about whether to come and exhibit at CTS, why should I do so? Give me some hard business reasons that will make me decide to do so.
Well, if you want to exhibit at it, then you better be sure that the marketplace wants to buy something from you. So it's a statement, by the way, a very positive statement. We're in this business. We're taking space. We're in this business. If you're just inquiring as to should we in some way get involved, well, you can go on the gearbox manufacturers' stands and learn at no cost. That would have been a good idea, or that would have been a disaster. So the whole thing is just to join this community as it moves through the 2 days, and you'll check your plans for investment. You'll check, and many people come in with details of some kind of trade protections that they've got to make sure that nobody's breaching it. We get overseas visitors and we have overseas exhibitors, all opening our eyes to what are they doing in Italy, what are they doing in Germany. But because we're Europe's centre, in a sense, for most of these motorsport technologies, a great deal of it is UK companies to UK companies, and you'll accelerate the success of your business by being there. Market intelligence is the kind of words that people would say, well, you will get very, very specific market intelligence. This is not wasted on fans, not wasted on people outside the industry. This is focused, and you've only got the few months between the end of one season to the next season to grasp this opportunity to have those conversations.
So it's a trade show, absolutely a trade show. And if you come and exhibit, you will find customers, you will find suppliers, you will do business, and you'll do so at the right time of the year, October, so that you'll line up those customers and suppliers in time to go racing the following year.
Yes, that's a very simple but very good statement. That's exactly what we're after. There's a myriad of good reasons to go to good trade shows, as there are in many other sectors. But this is the only one for the motorsport industry, the only one for the whole UK. And somebody said, well, why not take it further afield? Well, we've already proved that we're the centre for this technology. This is the place to have a trade show.
And if I'm not exhibiting, but I'm involved in the industry in some way, and I just want to come along to look and listen and see and learn, I can do so free of charge, and you won't even charge me to park my car.
No, that's perfect. And we run a check on everybody who registers, because it is quite a generous kind of offer to do it. But if they're looking to invest in the area, or they're thinking that they've got a new product that might work, of course we welcome them. That's how innovation has to be open to new ideas. And the more new ideas we get there, the more the exhibitors are rewarded for investing in the show. So CTS 25, we started this about 5 years ago, just at the end of COVID. It's a tremendous boost to the investors and the businesses in motorsport in the UK.
So at CTS, what kind of people will I end up bumping into?
Well, most major series will send delegates to come to the show. Some will be on show and taking part, and some will just be covering the show, looking for new ideas. We're confident that we'll get visitors from Formula One, British Touring Cars, World Rally, IndyCar, IMSA in America, Le Mans, World Rally. So almost all the major championships, in some way or another, will have people walking the floor. It's strange to say, okay, they're very important to us, but the most important thing is the lifeblood of our sport, which is the supply chain. It's just as important to meet you there with your new gearbox company as it is to meet somebody from Formula One or Motorsport UK. So we mustn't get carried away by a list of popular names. It is the supply chain this is the heartbeat of this industry and the uniqueness of the UK Motorsport Valley.
And it's senior people, senior management, but it's also engineer to engineer contact, isn't it?
Yes, and it's funny you say that. The engineer to engineer could be a senior engineer to a senior engineer. It's not a junior role. As you know, with your experience in motorsport, it's very hard to know who is the boss of any one particular part. The boss usually is the one that's got the brightest idea at that moment in time. So it's face-to-face meetings of people that spend the whole year ferreting around running race cars at race meetings. They come out into the open air and they meet other people from the industry, from the supply chain, and the result is undoubtedly of great value to both sides.
Well, I'll certainly be there, and it seems like a bit of a no-brainer that one should go there if one's involved. And in order to register either as an exhibitor or to attend, again, the MIA website.
MIA website, and it's painless activity, and I would love to see you. I will be there at the whole time, and I'll meet you if you're there.
Last question, Chris. Fascinating talking to you as always. Where do you see the UK motorsport industry and indeed the MIA in 5 years and 10 years' time?
Well, it'll be a mirror of the success of motorsport in general. And if I approach it with that thought in mind, I think we're right on the edge of the most exciting few years ahead. And I've taken lots of advice and conversation with people who I call business leaders. This new breakthrough of making motorsport engineering entertainment for a younger, wider audience, multinational, which thankfully is going on to major films or on television, and this is going to undoubtedly change the face of motorsport. In simple terms, it's the popularity. And it'll be, I've told people before, it's the breakfast table where the kids say to mum and dad, you know, what do I want to do in the future? They used to want to go to space and land on the moon. Now, I'm pretty sure with the excitement of the broadcasting that's going on into their phones and so on, they'll say, I like this motorsport business. And when Dad says, well, it's just a waste of petrol, they'll say, you misunderstand, because it's green, it's energy efficient, it's modern, it's tomorrow's world. And I have a feeling that's what we're going to see over the next few years, and it's for the UK government and industry to catch this opportunity. It will be approached by other countries, particularly America, who have all the experience in the world of making it sport entertaining, that we have to work hard and not miss this opportunity. But I'm very confident that we have a good starting position and we have some commitment from very important business leaders. I think the next 5 years is going to do that, and it'll carry forward in, if you like, its second generation for the next 5. It'll be a different sport, just as this year's is different to 10 years ago. It'll be even more different. After 10 years, it's 2035, and the main street will be full of electric cars. There won't be any other cars. So in that journey, we're going to find what is the future of mobility.
So it's a fascinating time. We're now sitting here in 2025 at the intersection of engineering and entertainment, and we're beginning this journey that is going to see the continued increased popularity and relevance of the motorsport industry, and the MIA, the Motorsport Industry Association, is going to be in the vanguard of it and leading it.
Oh, that's our ambition, yes. And I'm pretty confident we'll be doing just that.
Thank you.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure.